Hello students, we are going to talk about business topics in literature. Since this is week 2, I'm just gonna give you an overview of what this topic entails and then gonna focus on particularly this week what we are going to talk about in this week. So business topics in literature, we're going to talk about the different genres of literature through the business point of view, plus we'll also talk about the different genres of business as well. So this is from the first week PowerPoints, the PowerPoint slides I am going through. I'm walking you through these PowerPoint slides basically from the week 1. So talking about business topics in literature, we will focus on communication as well, how communication plays a significant role to get the message across, and why communication is key and how it is key to get the message across. So here's the definition of communication. You can read all these PowerPoint slides. Go through these slides, which these PowerPoint slides I have already posted to your Georgia view, and the further definition of communication. And also I have tried to show a little bit of difference between business communication and communication literature. The purpose of each type of writing in any kind of genre, whether that be fiction or non-fiction or any kind of a business communication, it could be emails or brochures or the newsletters or all any kinds of genres or any kinds of literature it's always purposive. Okay, the purpose is to communicate to the reader, communicate to the audience. Okay, but depending upon the genres of writing, it has its own audience, own reader. Okay, so when we talk about practical communication, business communication, we have practical versus imaginary, factual versus hypothetical, clear and brief, target oriented and audience. See, each and every type of communication does have its own targeted audience. The purpose of business communication is more of a persuasive and it's more of a practical communication compared to communication literature, which is written out of the imaginations, which might be more hypothetical, and the purpose is more entertaining and informative. And also formal and informal. In business communication, the writing is more formal compared to communication literature, compared to the other genres of literature like fiction. These are some of the things that you need to know. So again, moving forward, what's the role of communication, why it is important in business and literature, and how is it important? So we have to think of grammar, language, dictions that always play a very important role in communication. Okay, depending upon if your grammar is not correct and if you have not used proper words, then it might make the communication very difficult. If you fail to communicate to the audience in an effective manner, then you are not successful. You are not a successful writer. So depending upon your genres, communication always plays an interesting role here. So this is a YouTube video, The Danger of a Single Story. This is very entertaining and also very informative. If you have time, just go and watch this video. This will also give you an explanation of why communication is very important, because if you fail to look at something from the people's perspective, you are not bringing out the real story. You are not bringing the real story out to the audience. So this really helps you better understand the world from a different perspective, and the role of communication there as well. So on that note, I will go to the other PowerPoint slide, especially for this week. This week we're going to talk about the genres of writing. Okay, so this week we are going to talk about the genres of writing. Talking about the genres of writing, we'll also talk about the genres of business writing and the genres of different literature. Okay, so talking about the genres of business writing, we have different genres of written communication in business. For example, resumes and proposals and letters and advertisements and so on. And also there are different areas have different genres of writing. Okay, depending upon what areas you are focusing on. For example, if it's a literature, then there are different genres within the genres. For example, there are fictions and non-fiction, and even within the fiction, you have novels. That's one of the genres. Poetry is another genres. And these are, for example, under non-fiction you have memoir and autobiography. These are the different genres. Okay, so see, in terms of the different types of writing, you have different types of genres also, so you should be cognizant of that, should be aware of that. And genres entail format and structures. Depending upon the genre, its format and structures is different too. Format, meaning design of the document, so it depends on the conventions, and convention is determined by the genre as well. And also sometimes depending upon what culture you are in, sometimes the culture, different culture does have a different practice of writing certain document, so that also determines what kind of how you design the document. The structure has something to do with the organizations. Okay, so it depends on the content or the genre as well. So if you are writing a poem, it has its own organization, own way of structuring the ideas. If you are writing a novel, it has its own way of organizing and structuring the ideas, and similarly the non-fictions. So keep those things in mind. So content and genre, shape the structure of the content, and also convention sometimes shape the design of the document as well. So those are the things that you will be discussing this week. So moving further, genres and mediums. Sometimes genre, as we say, is a writing piece, and that is dependent upon the kinds of writing. If it is a business writing, and even within the business writing, what kind of writing it is, whether it's email, whether it's a memo, whether it's a newsletter or brochure, the other kinds of writing that comes into play when we talk about business writing. So that's what we call a genres. And again, how are we going to convey those writing pieces? What is the medium through which we can communicate, convey? So these are the emails. So we use email to send those documents out to the reader, the audiences. We use different social media like Twitter or Facebook or even YouTube. That's another the medium. For example, I'm communicating all this information with you, and the medium I'm using here is a Screenomatic software, with the help of which I'm able to communicate what I'm trying to say this week under this topic, genres of writing. And these are some of the mediums that we will think of when we talk about it. Again, when we talk about genres in literature, we have genres in fiction and non-fiction. So look at this. Even within the genres of fiction and non-fiction, we have different subgenres. What kind of fiction? So what kind of non-fiction is it? Is it general mystery? Is it environmental thriller, a supernatural thriller, or is it a romance and fantasy? You see, these entails varieties of genres. So keep that in mind. If you are writing for business, or if you are involved in business writing, you need to know what are the genres that come into play in business writing. If you are in creative writing, what kind of genres and their format and structures that come into play. So these are some of the important things that you want to be aware of. So there are enough reading materials I have posted to Georgia View. So go to those materials, read them, and then make sure you have a better understanding of the different genres of business writing and different genres of fictions and non-fiction, and how they are different, how business writing is different from creative writing, and what's the purpose of it. But no matter whether the genre is different or not, whether the writing format and structures of all these different genres are different in nature or not, but the underlying aspect of all kinds of writing is to communicate. Okay, that's the bottom line of all kinds of writing. Communicate, reach out to the audience, reach out to the reader, and it has its own way of formatting and structuring depending upon the genres. But again, the bottom line of all kinds of writing is to communicate. So let me know what you think of this this video and the information that we shared today. If you have any questions, you can always send my way, or you can also drop your comments under the comment box as well. So thank you. Good luck.